Everybody ready? Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Corporal Jose Mendez, Josemendez, and I'm with the Austin Police Department Public Information Office. So today at approximately 11:53 a.m., APD officers responded to 4400 block of Merle Drive, and just for reference, that's near the intersection of Menchaca Road and Ben White Service Road eastbound. A resident called 911 stating that a naked male forced entry inside her home. After an assault took place inside the home, the residents of the home exited and called 911. APD officers did respond to this residence for a burglary hotshot call initially. When officers arrived on scene, they learned that there were several loaded weapons inside the residence. At that point, the officers on scene began treating this incident as a barricaded subject call. And at that time, APD SWAT was notified. Once SWAT arrived on scene, they made several call-outs to the suspect in an attempt to establish communication with him. SWAT also used a distractionary device during the course of this incident. After several attempts of de-escalating this situation, the suspect eventually exited the residence unharmed, and the incident ended peacefully. With help from APD Patrol, APD SWAT, hostage negotiators, our drone team, DPS, AISD, AFD, and EMS, the suspect in this case was placed into police custody and is currently facing a charge of burglary of a habitation, which is a first-degree felony. At this time, there is no further threat to the community. As always, though, we do remind people to be aware of their surroundings. Call 911. If you see something, say something. But again, at this point in time, there is no further threat as a result of this incident. I'll take any questions you might have.
Can you elaborate on the assault, the alleged assault that happened in there?
I don't know the specifics, but at some point, while the suspect was inside the residence, the homeowner was assaulted, and that's why we have that burglary of a habitation charge right now.
So just to confirm, you said it was a forced entry, so between the subject and the victim, there was no, or the person that made the call, there's no connection?
No connection as far as I know. There's no relationship. The suspect in this case was unknown to the homeowner or any resident of the house.
You said that there were loaded weapons. Did you bring the loaded weapons, or were the loaded weapons already in?
The loaded weapons were the homeowners. They were already in the house. But as a precaution with those type of weapons and such, that's what escalated this situation into a SWAT call-out.
Some people reported hearing gunshots, but to be clear, there were no shots fired.
Correct. No shots were fired. Those were most likely the distractionary devices that our SWAT team used.
Those are like flashbangs, right?
Correct. Similar to flashbangs, yes.
You said the alleged victim just ran out of the house? Is that what happened?
Yes. After an assault took place, the victim and the residents inside the house exited because of the situation that was going on inside.
How many people were in there? Was it kids in there?
Not that I know of. There were at least 2 people inside the home, along with a few pets.
Was it like immediately they ran out, or I mean, how long a period was the suspect and the victim in there together?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how long the suspect and the victim or any resident inside, how long they had an interaction for. But at some point, there was an interaction, and then the residents fled the house.
What's the suspect's name?
I'm sorry?
The suspect's name?
I don't have the suspect's name at this time. All I know that he is a black male in his early 30s.
How long did this incident from beginning to end take?
I don't have the exact times with me, so don't quote me on the times, but I believe, like I said, the incident took place around 11:40 a.m., and then the result of him being placed into custody was probably close to 30 minutes ago.
2:30ish.
Correct.
You guys did like flashbangs. You guys were out here for a long. This is a long process, right? And I guess take us through briefly the process, and I guess it's the ultimate. Was it he finally just came out on his own, or you guys?
Yeah. So from the time that our patrol officers arrived, they realized what this situation was going to entail. It obviously started as a barricaded subject, and of course we try to keep these things as peaceful as possible. So when SWAT was notified, they came here. We conducted several call-outs to the individual to try to establish that communication and rapport with the subject. At some point, they were unsuccessful in doing that, so that's what transitioned into the flashbangs and the distractionary devices. From there, at some point, he exited willingly, unharmed, and like I said, no officers were injured. The suspect was not injured. He was checked by EMS, but no injuries up to this point have been reported.
Maybe subjectively, you could talk. That sounds like best case scenario ending for this kind of situation, right?
Correct. Any situation like this, we want to end it peacefully. So in terms of this situation specifically, it ended as peaceful as possible. And we're,
Charges?
I'm sorry?
Potential charges?
Potential charges right now are the burglary of a habitation, which is a felony charge.
No assault charges.
Other charges may be pending or may be coming, but I know our burglary unit was on scene investigating. So at this point, he's being booked into the Travis County Jail under the charge of burglary of a habitation.
The interaction between the homeowner and the suspect, was it purely a physical interaction, or did it escalate? Was it sexual, did they say?
From my understanding, it was a brief discussion after he forced entry inside the home, and then at some point, the homeowner and the residents inside determined that it was best that they remove themselves from the home.
Any indication from the resident why the suspect was new?
That I'm not sure. Again, the suspect was unknown to the residents of the home. It's unknown if he was intoxicated or under the influence of some kind of controlled substance even, but those are the kind of things that we're investigating right now.
Was he nude whenever he came in?
I don't know. I didn't see. Can't tell you if he was still nude, but upon forcing entry inside the home, he was nude.
Can you just talk on it, whether it's intoxication or mental health problems? You know, I know the last couple SWAT situations I've personally been at, and I'm only talking anecdotally here, have all been like kind of mental health related. Is this, I mean, can you just talk maybe more broadly or generally about how often SWAT is put in these situations and this emphasis on mental health and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to determine right now and to tell if this was simply a subject that was intoxicated or under the influence of a drug, or if it was a subject experiencing some form of mental crisis. But we do encourage people, if you have something going on, if it is mental health related, we encourage you to reach out to somebody, including APD, and we can at least point you to the correct resources to get you that help. But right now, we're still trying to determine if it was mental health related or just somebody simply under the influence of some form of, or some kind of substance. Excuse me.
You suspect it's a mental health issue. Is there a different tactic you use?
Well, because we don't know that going in, typically our tactics stay the same. And in this sense, a barricaded subject call, we will leave the tactics and such to our SWAT team who are highly trained in areas like this.
Was there anything specifically that made him finally come out after all that time? Maybe the negotiator said anything like that?
Yeah, it's hard to speak on the suspect's behalf, but whether it was the flashbang or something just inside him that says, hey, I'm going to come out now. I can't speak for the people that actually do come out, or whatever it took for them to come out. So I can't speak on his behalf. However, the tactics that we have used today were very successful. And like I said, he came out peacefully, willingly, and it ended peacefully.
Any idea if the suspect was homeless?
That I don't know. I'm not sure if he was homeless or not.
There is a church that services the homeless community 2 blocks up. Any relation, do you think, between the suspect and that center?
That kind of information could be forthcoming, but at this time, I don't know. We do have a large population of people experiencing homelessness right now. A lot in this particular area, but right now that connection is unknown. Any other questions?
Who was the female victim?
From my knowledge, there was a male and a female resident, and our suspect was a male. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Sir.
Were you able to press stop?
All the video,